This episode is about Little Richard. Specialty Records bought the rights to Tutti Frutti for $50, and Little Richard signed a contract that gave him half a cent per record sold. I'll say that again. Half a cent per record sold. Hi, and welcome to Above and Beyond the Music, where I talk about iconic fashion, court cases, and even songs that sound alike. Whatever you can think about, if it's music related, I'll try to talk about it. Because that's just what we do here. We go above and beyond. Richard Wayne Penniman was a Seventh-day Adventist and one of 12 children, and he grew up singing in church. His first label was RCA Records, and he was only 19 years old. RCA Records is home currently to many artists such as Doja Cat, Childish Gambino, Justin Timberlake, SZA, and more. In 1955, Penniman signed to Specialty Records, where they originally wanted him to sing blues music. But that was not his style. So one day, at a restaurant, Richard hopped on a piano and began to sing Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy. His original lyrics were a little, PG-13, and they were then made PG. Yes, PG. So, when Tutti Frutti was originally released, it debuted high on the pop charts at around number 17. 17 the kid. I'm kidding, I'm sorry. We're not talking about me. So, once Tutti Frutti was released, it sold around 200,000 copies in a week and a half. And by 1968, it sold over 3 million copies. So basically, a lot of moolah was being made, but not by Richard. Not long after Tutti Frutti was released, another singer also recorded the song and achieved greater success with it on the pop charts. Pat Boone's version of Tutti Frutti hit the charts in 1956 and climbed all the way up to number 12. 17 is much better, and I'm not being biased. Okay, maybe I am. Well, here's what Little Richard himself had to say. I had signed a very bad deal with Specialty. If you wanted to record, you signed on their terms or you didn't record. I got half a cent for every record sold. Whoever heard of cutting a penny in half? It didn't matter how many records you sold if you were black. The publishing rights were sold to the record label before the record was even released. Tutti Frutti was sold to Specialty for $50. Little Richard is quoted as having said this in his authorized biography, The Life and Times of Little Richard. Now it's time for the legal term of the day. Unconscionable means without a conscience, unscrupulous, so unfair or unjust that it shocks the conscience. The adjective is frequently used in the context of contract law for contracts that have grossly oppressive and unfair terms. When a court finds a contract unconscionable, it is unenforceable. Well, eventually, Richard fought back. In 1959, after leaving his label, claiming he had not been paid fairly, he settled that year, accepting $11,000 to waive his rights to royalties from the sale of records. And if you think it ends there, it doesn't. I never got what Elvis Presley got paid. I never got what Mick Jagger got paid, Little Richard at 51 said as he and friends picketed ATV, one of the music companies he was suing. In 1984, he sued Specialty Records, Venice Music, their owner, Arthur N. Rupee, and ATV, a music publisher. Richard's attorneys provided the reasons why Richard sued all of those entities. Larry Allman, one of the attorneys, said it was because Specialty was Little Richard's label and Venice Music was Specialty's songwriting machine, bought by ATV in 1979, and the $115 million 1984 lawsuit alleged that the 1959 agreement Little Richard signed waiving all royalties in exchange for an $11,000 lump sum payment only applied to his recording of such hits as Long Tall Sally and Good Golly Miss Molly. The rights to Pennyman's songs were transferred to ATV in 1979, when that company purchased Venice Music from Specialty Records. And that's what the suit stated. Pollock said Pennyman, who had devoted his life to the ministry for several years, planned to make numerous public and television appearances to discuss the suit, and that's exactly what he did. So what ultimately happened? Well, the music companies settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. Little Richard's net worth was $40 million when he died, so while we don't know the exact amount, it's safe to say Little Richard received a nice settlement payment. Oh, and I'm not done. Here's the king of pop. Michael Jackson famously purchased the publishing rights to the Beatles catalog in 1985 for $47 million, outbidding Beatles member Paul McCartney. There were 251 compositions in the catalog by the Beatles, as well as music by other artists, including Little Richard. Specialty Records' music was included in the package. Later, MJ opted to give Richard his publishing back before MJ passed away in 2009. In 2010, Tutti Frutti was added to the Library of Congress's National Recording Registry. Richard had a very interesting life and a good heart. Little Richard once said, "Well, God is trying to tell me something." Then the thought came to me, what shall he profit a man if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give God in exchange for a soul? And I decided I would give my life to God. Entertaining is a way to spread joy, said Richard. I've come to terms with that and with myself. You've got to do that before you can begin to help others. Well, thanks for watching and listening, and I hope that you'll come back again to go above and beyond the music. Hello. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'd just like to tell you, good morning. And in case you're just now seeing me, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.